Yeah. Okay. I'll lay it out. It's pretty simple. Okay. No income tax, no capital gains tax, 9% corporation tax compared to 25% in the UK. And that's only on profits over $100,000. So first 100,000 free and then 9% above that. Okay. So that's pretty tough to beat. If I look towards the future, this means me having millions of more dollars or pounds in my pocket and in my family's treasury, which otherwise would be just going down the black hole of the government and whatever the heck they choose to do with it. So that's a massive factor, and I can't pretend it's not a massive factor. This is one of the safest cities in the world. It's also one of the cleanest cities in the world. There is no wokeness at all. There's no politics. There's no culture war. There's no wokeness. All the crazy stuff that you see on social media or on the television or all that, that's just DOA here. It's gone. You don't see any of it. You can come here in June. You will not see a pride flag. You can, right, like, they're not transing the kids. They're not doing any of this. Like, all of that is just a sort of dark cloud that is lifted off. And I don't just think for myself, but I want to start a family in the future. And I think about my future. I think about my future of family and my children. And I'd rather not have to constantly, every single day, nonstop, be completely fighting against the culture. I'm happy to fight when I need to fight, but there's just this sort of nonstop. If you're someone who's more, for lack of a better term, conservative, or at this point I would just say sane, and you live in a country like the UK or the US or Canada, it's like there's this nonstop battle now against the culture and against the politics and against the media and all of these things. And it's a fight that's absolutely worth fighting, but you shouldn't have to. People didn't need to have to fight against the culture so much, and now you do. Another thing I love about Dubai is it's a fantastic travel hub. So I can get to pretty much any city or country that I want to go to direct. There's flights all the time. I think just to the UK, they have like 20 flights a day or something ludicrous like that. So it's very easy for me to get to where I want to. I want to go to Miami, boom, direct flight. I want to go to Sydney, Australia, direct flight. I want to go to wherever it is, Istanbul. There's direct flights to San Francisco and LA even. It's a long flight. I've done it before. It's a long flight. But yeah, that's simple. And I've got a big family, and it's actually in the middle of where my family is. So my immediate family is based across 4 countries. We are in the USA, the UK, UAE, and Australia. So I'm actually in the middle of where all of my family is, right? So, and there's direct flights to all of those places. So I can see all of my siblings, my nieces, my nephews, my parents. I'm a flight away from everybody. So I might be geographically far away, but I'm only like depending on where they are, 7 to 14 hours away from them. So yeah, I mean, another thing I'd say about Dubai as well is it's just, it's on a positive and upward trajectory. So I like to be somewhere where things are getting better rather than getting worse. So I love the UK. I love the UK. I love the USA, and there's certain parts of the USA that I feel are continuing to improve. But there's also many places that are declining. If I look at certain cities, if I look at Los Angeles, if I look at London, if I look at New York City, some of these big sort of legacy brand cities, honestly, they're in decline. LA is not as attractive to live in. San Francisco is not as attractive to live in now as it was in 1995 or in 2005, or perhaps, maybe even in 2015. They're just getting worse and worse. They're getting more expensive, but the homelessness is rising. The amount of people doing drugs out in the street is rising. The quality of some of the services and the roads, basic things, potholes in the roads, and just all of these sort of day-to-day things, these indicators of decline, they're just there. And there's no sign that it's going to get better. There's no impetus for it to get better. There's no incentive right now for the politicians to make it any better. And so all of that stuff is concerning. And there's a good feeling that you get being somewhere where you know what, 10 years from now, it's going to be even better. That feels good. It has a certain energy. I'll tell you one more thing. I'm going to sound like I'm on Dubai's payroll, but I'm absolutely not. I'm just being honest. And by the way, there are negatives too. I mean, right now, it's like I mean, it's evening over here and it's freaking
150
105 degrees and humid, right? Exactly. Right. So, like I'm not saying everything is sunshine and rainbows. There's an absence of nature. There's not as much, beautiful lakes and trees and grass and all that stuff. I am in a desert. The last thing I'd say as well is Dubai attracts a lot of like-minded people. So because of the nature of it and even its location, it's very much a city of expats. Only 10% of the population is Emirati, right? So 90% of the population in the city is people who have come deliberately from other countries, from the East, from the West. Yes. So it draws a lot of entrepreneurs. It draws a lot of people who just, like, everyone here is here for a reason. It's part of why it's a factor as to why there's no crime, right? Because there's virtually no unemployment, right? There's no unemployment. There's virtually no homelessness. Everyone here is here because they want to work either for themselves or for whatever company has hired them. They want to look after their kids. They want to raise their family, and it's just normal. And it sounds so weird to say that. It's just like, if I didn't go on the internet, then I would be sort of totally insulated from all the strange things that are happening in the world. And it's just sane. It's just normal. You don't have to worry about, when you're here, you realize how many things you sort of worry about when you're in many other places. And then you kind of come here and it sort of switches off and you can just focus on your work and you can focus on sort of doing the things that we really should be kind of caring about and not having to totally occupy yourself with like, if I look like where the US is right now, obviously it's an election year. The next 100 days are just going to be madness. I mean, it's like every day I log in the morning and it's just like, okay, what crazy, what crazy. It's like, oh, okay, today they tried to kill the former president. Okay, today they decided to do this crazy thing in France with the Olympic ceremony. Okay, like, just every day there's something happening. Like, wait, what's going on here? It's just kind of mad. And look, I know that you can be, it's not like the whole USA is crazy or anything like that. I'm totally aware that most people are normal and there's many places that you can live and ways that you can live where you are not having to deal with any of this crap. But it is still there. It is still there, and it does still have an effect on the culture. It is going to have an impact on future generations. And, I think the society and that sort of cultural and community fabric is very important. And so I'm very much a believer in, shout out to Andrew Henderson, Nomad Capitalist. I am a believer in go where you're treated best. And when I just consider all the things that I think about and care about, and I think towards the future, I just made the decision that as a sort of official headquarters and place of residence, the UAE for the time being, I believe, makes the most sense for me personally. It's not like I'm stuck here either, right? Last point I'd make, actually, it's so easy to gain residency and to maintain it. I only have to be here one day every 6 months to remain a resident. I'm obviously here more than that, but there's some places where, you got to be there for 6 months a year, for example, to stay a resident, whereas here the requirements are just extremely low. So I can continue to travel. I still spend tons of time in the US. I spend tons of time in the UK. I can still travel as I already was traveling, but I don't need to do all of that and then still have to pay ludicrous amounts of money to the UK government, even though I don't even live in the country.
If you like that clip, then you definitely gotta check out this next spicy clip. I think you're really gonna like it. Come on, check it out. But if you want the full version, the full interview, check that out over here. Come on, do it. I'll see you in there.